There's a city in Turkey that's done a lot for Syrian refugees. Lying right beside the Turkish-Syrian border, the city of Kilis has become a symbol of humanitarianism, embracing people from all walks of life, fleeing war, poverty, and strife. Kilis, which hosts more refugees than its entire Turkish population, is just one example of how Turkey's dealing with people in need, fleeing from unimaginably difficult situations. Turkey hosts more refugees than any other country in the world, and many are from its neighbor, Syria. Since 252 people first fled the conflict and crossed the border back in April 2011, there's been an open door policy. Of the 4.3 million refugees living in Turkey, 3.5 million are Syrian. And with over 1 million kids in total, Turkey's the top child refugee hosting country in the world. From the 3.5 million refugees, there are around 3 million Syrian Arabs and approximately 400,000 Syrian Kurds. Turkey has also hosted other religious and ethnic minorities, including Christians, Yazidis, and Armenians. What's life like for them all? They enjoy free healthcare and education. They can also apply for work permits so they can provide for themselves and their families. Let's look at some of the numbers. Syrians enjoy the same access to free healthcare in Turkey as Turkish citizens. Until now, nearly 1.5 million Syrians received inpatient treatment in Turkish hospitals, and 1.2 million have had medical operations, while 34 million health services have also been provided in total. There are 156 Turkish and 109 Syrian doctors, in addition to 186 Turkish and 137 Syrian health professionals serving in the camps. Since the beginning of the war, more than 300,000 Syrian babies were born in Turkey. Around 620,000 Syrian refugee children continue their education in Turkish state schools. 222,000 refugees go to temporary education centers, while 87,000 receive vocational training. In 2017, around 7,000 Syrians opened up businesses with their own capital. And since the beginning of the war, more than 34,000 Syrian refugees have been given work permits. Turkey's total expenditure has reached more than $31 billion since the beginning of the war in Syria. On a local governance level, municipalities across Turkey have allocated around $6.5 billion to help those in need. Humanitarian agencies in Turkey have also done their part, spending around $1.2 billion for humanitarian purposes. Some of these include Turkey's own disaster relief agencies, such as the Turkish Red Crescent, AFAD, and the Turkey Diyanet Foundation. The humanitarian aid into Syria has been transported around the country by 39,373 trucks. Another 18,305 trucks carrying UN humanitarian aid have also been transferred to Nusaybin, Oncupinar, and Cilvegözü camps. There's even a path to citizenship, if they want it. Since the start of the war, 55,798 Syrians have been granted Turkish citizenship. In 2017 alone, 44,800 Syrians became Turkish citizens. But for many, the dream is to simply return home. To that end, the Euphrates Shield and Olive Branch operations established a safe zone spanning more than 4,000 square kilometers. Several areas were completely freed from Daesh, YPG, and PKK terrorists, allowing for around 140,000 Syrians to safely return home from Turkey. In Turkey's Euphrates Shield operation that commenced in 2016, the city of Jarabulus was liberated from the inhumane rule of Daesh terrorists. Since then, Turkey has been successfully normalizing living conditions in the city by establishing healthcare, education, and security services for the locals. In the fall of 2016, Turkey's health ministry opened up Jarabulus Hospital. Currently, the hospital is treating more than 1,200 people a day, providing a necessary lifeline for the local community. Additionally, the Turkish Red Crescent, supported by some Turkish municipalities, have repaired local schools, including the city's largest high school, a site that was previously used as a prison by Daesh. Jarablus is not the only city that has benefited from Operation Euphrates Shield. The cities of Al-Bab and Azaz have also been liberated from Daesh, and Turkey has continued its efforts to revitalize these areas. Once again, healthcare infrastructure has been a key part of the normalization process. Plans include the ongoing construction of the Al-Bab Hospital, which will have 200 beds. Meanwhile, Azaz Hospital has serviced more than 6,000 Syrians since March 2017. Turkey's latest operation, Olive Branch, has successfully liberated the city of Afrin from the YPG, PKK, and Daesh terrorists. The operation was launched to 1. Secure Turkey's border, 2. Establish a safe zone for internally displaced Syrians, and 3. To continue the fight against terrorism. 2 months after the operation started, the Free Syrian Army, alongside the Turkish armed forces, took control of the city center and are now catering to the needs of the local population. For example, in terms of nutrition, the Turkish Red Crescent, with support of other local NGOs, serve more than 5,000 meals on a daily basis to those in need. In terms of security, the Turkish armed forces are dislodging mines, improvised explosive devices, and other lethal weaponry left behind by terrorist groups. Since the 20th of January, Turkey's Disaster Management Agency has distributed 30 tons of humanitarian aid to Afrin. Ankara has also identified an area to house more than 170,000 internally displaced people from Syria's Idlib. To understand the magnitude and importance of the peace-building efforts by Turkey in Syria, a comparison between the areas liberated in Operation Euphrates Shield and Olive Branch to cities like Raqqa and Mosul speaks for itself. Turkey's priority and objective has and will always be to preserve the freedom and human dignity of the Syrian people. Turkey's humanitarian diplomacy has been reflected on the ground. Since 2011, the aid provided by Turkey for refugees has reached an all-time high. The European Union offered to help share the financial load with a promised 6 billion euros, but so far has fallen short. Despite this, Turkish naval patrols have helped stem the flow of migrants and refugees trying to cross the Aegean Sea, cutting the number of illegal crossings into Europe from 7,000 people a day to less than 1,000 a month, as part of the 2016 deal between Turkey and the EU. All in all, Turkey is one of the largest donors of international humanitarian assistance, second only to the US. However, if we take GDP into account, Turkey's aid surpasses the US 25-fold. So, isn't it time for the nations with more to stand with Turkey and do more?